episode of the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria. My name is Egosa Agmonlao, your anchor on the show. On today's program, we'll be taking a look at some very, very crucial issues, some mind-boggling because of the issue of insecurity. One had thought that the federal government was winning the war, but a lot of issues cropping up, insecurity, not only in the northeast, but in other parts of the country. And that actually necessitated the visit of Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari to Kaduna State to intervene as expected of a leader. And that was very commendable of the president to have visited Kaduna State. The issue of the protest by Shais, actually asking for the release of their leader. A lot of issues, Boko Haram issues cropping up here and there. Also, another mind-boggling issue has to do with the minimum wage. The workers ready to take on government at all levels because of the issue of minimum wage. I have very eminent personalities with me, very experienced. I have a legal practitioner and of course a law lecturer with the University of Benin, a regular face on the program, Dr. Job Odio. Nice to have you on the show.
Good afternoon, Augusta.
Okay.
Good afternoon, viewers.
We also have with us a very, very seasoned politician, President Unity in Democracy, a pressure group for good governance. And so you'll be able to really talk on these national issues, talking about Ehalua. Andrew, nice to have you.
Good afternoon, viewers.
And to complement our panel, we have a clergyman, a very vocal one at that, evangelist, Emeka Ekwaga. Nice to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so like I said, insecurity is a threat to national development. And with the fast approaching 2019 general election, Nigerians are scared if this monster of insecurity will not cripple the preparations ahead of the 2019 election. Well, the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, after the Federal Executive Council meeting, was mandated to speak on the issue. Let's just hear him briefly.
And I think the Honourable Minister of the Federal Capital Territory is been asked to take the matter up with his own security committee.
What he said, the summary of it is that the Federal Executive Council has directed the Minister of the FCT, Malam Muhammad Bello, to liaise with security agencies and hot protests by members of the Islamic Movement of Nigeria, also known as Shiites. You just heard from Lai Mohammed. That's a very serious issue. We've heard of issues of live bullets being fired at Nigerians, at these Shiites. But the government cannot fold its arms and allow some persons to disrupt the peace. Though we heard it's a peaceful protest, but it led to traffic jam, it led to apprehension in Abuja, parts of Abuja. Well, that's an issue. The Northeast insecurity is also there. The problem in Kaduna State that led to curfew being imposed by the governor of Kaduna State is there. We'll just start with the President of Unity in Democracy, pressure group for good governance. We'll start with him, Ehalua Andrew. What's your take on all of these?
Well, first and foremost, I think we need to define the concept security.
Okay.
Security, to the best of my ability, how far I know, is a situation whereby you are going about your business freely, no interference. When you are sleeping, you sleep with your two eyes closed. Whatever you are doing, you are free to do without any intimidation or harassment. Okay. That's what I think security is.
I think that's what security is.
I don't know. But okay, if you look at it in the Nigeria setting, is there security in Nigeria?
Okay.
Do we sleep and keep our two eyes closed and sleep peacefully without hearing the gong being wrong
yes.
within the vicinity, even disturbing your sleep because they want to give you security?
Okay, that's vigilante.
Vigilante. And again, when you look at it, the situation in Nigeria is somehow, I don't know whether we are moving forward or we are moving backwards. Because if you look way back in the 80s, you can even come out and sleep on your balcony outside and day will break, nothing will happen.
You receive fresh
air. But these days, I don't know. Imagine, some couple of weeks ago, I was going with a commercial bus to Lagos. When the bus took off, the next thing I heard was, everybody, close your eyes, let's pray. For 30 minutes, somebody was praying, Father, Lord, don't allow armed robbers, emphasizing on armed robbers, just to travel.
Yes.
And when you get to your destination, let us thank God for a successful journey. That's gotten to that. To me, I don't think anybody that has a possibility of leaving Nigeria to another place where you can live your life happily, because now, security, if they give you security, it's not a luxury in Nigeria, security. It's not your own, it's
right.
not right again, it's like a luxury to you. So, to me, there's no security in Nigeria and the government is not doing anything. Like you rightly said.
No, the government is responding.
No.
The government is doing
it's
something.
always belated. Like the case of these shites, the genesis of this quarrel was that, if I'm not mistaken, was a general that was going to Kaduna or so. He was stopped by the shites protesters. Allow me pass. They said, no. How can you hold an army general of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? You can't pass. Peacefully, they told them, leave. We want to know you must not pass. How can you intimidate the army? They started with shooting and all that. The army retaliated, and what happened? And in such situation, the government must do their job. Who is the head? Zakawe, bring the head for questioning. He was arrested. I did not saying that the head was not supposed to be arrested. He should be allowed to go free in spite of what he has done. It shows the height of lawlessness in Nigeria. The impunity at which, well, I won't blame Nigerians though, because if you look at most of the security agency, they act in connivance with citizens to perpetrate this crime. I'm sorry to say. That's why you see every now and then crime is being committed. They keep blind eyes. When it goes beyond, be careful before they want to act. Okay. And it's appalling.
Okay, we'll come back to you, but let's put the perspective right. El-Zakzaky, the leader of the Shiites, is in detention, and the Shiites are protesting, asking for the release of their leader from detention. And we also understand that competent court of jurisdiction has granted him bail, but the federal government knows reasons behind his incarceration. Yes, like Andrew said, the Kaduna problem between the Shiites and the military. Yes, there was a problem stopping the military from having access, but we can't authenticate that the Shiites fired any shots. But we had a number of allegations. But the bottom line is that the leader of the Shiites is in detention and they're asking for his release. Well, we have a legal practitioner with us. Looking at the security situation in Nigeria, are you comfortable?
Definitely not. No reasonable Nigeria will be comfortable with the security state we have. Certainly not even in our own Edo state for now. So security is a big challenge as we speak now. And it's most disheartening because that is the main thrust of governance. If we talk about others, policies of government, the economic policies, social welfare and all that, but the main the trust, the gravamen of government is security. That is the level that when you provide security, like you rightly said, there's freedom of movement, people who are able to aspire to do what they want to do without any fear of harassment and all that. Business will thrive. I go to my farm without fear of being harassed by so-called herdsmen and all that, I can go to my business and close when I want to close without being scared of robbers and burglars. We know that in this town, people close their business from 6. You can't get into Dubai. So I can travel peacefully from point A to point B without being scared. I will not miss an
without
appointment.
prayers being offered.
You can ask for
Like,
prayer, like I said, prayer is necessary at every point in time. Part of life, we must submit to God. But beyond that, but that kind of desperate prayers that, you know, shows that you don't even believe in the system.
Fear.
Prayer out of fear, you know.
Prayer out of fear.
Yeah, we have a clergyman, but we'll come back to let's get your thoughts.
The government must not make citizens feel desolate and feel abandoned, you know. And that is where we are in this country, instead of they're coming to specifics. I think the first aspect is the Kaduna issue you raised.
Yes.
It's painful because that is an intractable problem. It's been there for over more than 2 decades now. I recall in 1991, 92, I was just about to go for my youth service when we had the Zango Kataf crisis that led to the trial of Major Zamani Lekot. That was almost how many years ago? I was in that same service that we knew that even the people were importing guns from different lands to fight back and all that. It's been there. It's been there, but I'm surprised that over the years it's still not abated. Why? Because government did not do the needful at that point in time. You set up inquiries. Where is the report? Where is the white paper? Apart from the Zamani Lekot's trial that was made to look suspicious because he was a retired military man, in fact he was arming a group. The Herlings, the people on the ground, how many were tried? At least that is my field. I cannot pick up any law report now and tell my student that this is somebody that was convicted for murder or convicted for this offense because it was traced to the crisis in the 90s up to now that we're talking about 2018, about 20 years after. So people are not being arrested, they're not being convicted. It's not about arrest too. Even when we arrest, who won't be convicted? So if government put their feet down, people are sentenced to death for killing, because this is murder, arson, serious offenses. If people live examples, so this man was sentenced to death for murder because he led arms against a fellow Nigerian in whatever guise, be it religion, which is most time it is, or tribal, then we have that deterrent posture of the law, which we some of us support, because there must be some level of deterrence in the legal system. It's not there because some big fellow somewhere protect them. So when you keep pampering these kind of things, it will be intractable. You see, this 3 years of this government alone, almost more than 5 occasions now, we've had this kind of crisis, this skirmish in Kaduna alone.
Yeah.
That is removing the Boko Haram crisis in the northeast and the herdsmen, Maruto. Is it the one in Zamfara? Is it the one in Taraba? Or we won't talk about Benue Plateau.
Only this morning there's report of kidnap of twin sisters. Boko Haram attack in Zamfara.
So I feel for me, I feel very, very bad because this government, led by retired general and was a man who came with a stern face and all the promise of securing Nigerians. If the economy is failing, as some say, at least one area that shouldn't fail is security. Not when you have a retired general at the helms of affairs. No one will have all the security agencies fully armed and fully equipped and fully funded. So what is the DSS doing? What is the police doing? Because I always said here, we need to preempt these things. Information gathering. These people don't just wake up and go to the street now. Talk about the Shiite movement itself. Even before they came out for that so-called rally, you ought to have got information. Try to pacify them, find ways to meet their leaders now on ground, since the main man is behind bars or has been incarcerated. So what is the DSS doing? What are our DMI doing? They're not proactive. Not proactive. So, but you just create an ambience where people take laws to their hands, and when, like I said, when it gets out of hand, you now overreact. You see, most of the time it's overreaction, spontaneous reaction. It doesn't produce any good results. That's for the Shiite and others. So globally, in terms of Nigerian situation, security is appalling and most. And again, before I forget to mention it, I think it gives vent to the so-called cry that we should have state police. We should have some level of individual or localized, security network that we can control at our own level. That has been an issue at the front burners, but it shows you how. And that is clear from the Ministry of Information's statement. It's not saying the SCT should take control, not the IG. So the Abuja is of power. That's where you have the IG, you have all the service chiefs. Yeah, this is happening. And you're not saying the Minister of SCT, who appears to be...
It's like the governor.
The governor of SCT should take charge. So we're coming back to where we say, governor chief security, but how well can they perform as chief security officers of the states?
We have information that the Kaduna crisis, over 90 persons have been arrested. We hope to see updates.
Prosecution and conviction.
So let's also get the thoughts of a clergyman in our midst, Emeka Ekowa. The security situation, what's your take on that?
Well, thank you very much. I think with what my honorable friends have said here.
Okay.
I just want to make a little input, but in a different aspect.
Yes.
The crisis in Abuja a few days ago.
That has to do with the shites.
Yeah, that has to do with the shites.
Okay.
You agree with me that the problem there is that the federal government has failed in their own position. How do I mean by this? The young man that was detained, a court that Nigeria respects, the law respects, granted him bail. And the federal government held him there. Why? If the court...
It could be for national security.
For whatever national security. Does it mean that the court is not doing what they ought to do?
Okay.
I mean, if we are operating in democracy, I think the court law, the court order should first and foremost be obeyed and put the young man in watch. Or on watch, sorry. I think that is the right thing.
It's an elderly man.
That's supposed to, must have been done there.
Yeah.
And if you discover that everything is being politicalized, how do you think there will be law and the security in the nation? Now, if somebody gets up tomorrow, even those who takes arms in the name of protest, there are people that fuel it. You discover that the government that be, or even those who are on a position, are kind of fueling the whole thing and said, go ahead and do this, go ahead and do this, and see how they can be able to frustrate the effort of nation called Nigeria. I think federal government should return back and they do the needful. If they have taken a matter to the court and court passed their verdict, let it be followed accordingly. And the next thing, if the person that has been granted bail goes against, then you can go after the person again. He's in Nigeria. Yeah. And you are the head, you are in power, you hold everything. You know how best you can prosecute the person again. But first and foremost, obey the law. Because that is why the law is there. And when you come to the area of Kaduna, it's still in the same lineage. Where you see some people comes out without any reason. And they started killing some people. If you trust it very carefully, you begin to see some tribalistic issues. Yes. You are not a northerner.
Yes. Ethnic problems.
Ethnic problems.
Religious problems.
I am from this.
Yes.
You are not a Christian. You are a Muslim. And the government ought to have put all these things in check. Let me quickly say a little bit on what my barrister said here concerning state police. Well, even if you bring state police at this particular time, it may not go down well. If federal government as an empire cannot be able to handle the situation of security, you made a point I cherish so much. If we're failing in economy, well, we could see some reasons. Either because of the global challenges or whatever. But when it comes to security, I am sure you know how best your house is. I know how best my house is. And you as the leader in my community, you know every look and corner that comes in or out. Yes. And they look at Abuja in particular. The Inspector General of Police in Abuja, the Minister of Defense or whatever is in Abuja, the service chiefs are all in Abuja.
Yes,
and why they are in Abuja, they are all only interested in their own. When they are going out, they are being moved with all chains of security and bullet vans. When they are going, even the criminals are afraid that they have people who are behind them. But the common masses keep suffering it. They go out on their own. They leave from their house. They go to government house. They go to Aso Rock for one meeting or the other. They sit in their office to issue order. They have never gone out to one day to say, let's go and checkmate what is going on
in the streets. I
love what CP, the Commissioner of Police in Edo State, do one time ago. I don't know whether he's still doing it up to today. In the evening, he will gather his boys, we enter vehicle, he will go on check. He will go on patrol. The area commanders go on patrol. Fine. If these men over there can take up this kind of measures, I think we'll be able to get a little bit relieved. But let's check it very well before we proceed all these things are masterminded by political holders. They are masterminded because of politics, power. Somebody wants to become whatever in 2019, and they want to make the nation ungovernable for anybody. You want to make the nation that is for anybody not to stay.
But we don't really have the evidence that these are politically motivated.
You can read the handwriting on the wall. You said something regarding to night. I think, but I mean, my doctor said something.
Yeah.
In the 80s, you can sleep and close your eyes. But since somebody can just get up and enter an office, whether by hook or crook, and you sit in where you are, you see millions entering your account. How do you want another person to enter there tomorrow?
So, in other words, you are emphasizing the need of one credible election to get credible leaders.
That's all.
Okay. Well, let's. We are discussing the issue of insecurity. We've talked about the crisis. Pardon me. Excuse me, rather. We talked about the crisis that happened in Kaduna State, and the president intervened. He visited Kaduna State, had a town hall meeting with stakeholders. We also witnessed what happened in the FCT. The Shiite massive protest march asking for the release of Zaki, the leader of the Shiites. And we've seen the issues of insecurity in the northeast and the federal government's fight against insecurity. Only recently, a general in the Nigerian army was declared missing, and that made the military high command to intervene. The good news is that the body of the military officer have been recovered. The army says it has recovered the remains or the body of late Major General Idris Akali, who was alleged to be attacked and killed in a community in just South local government area of Plateau State. The leader of the search and rescue operation stated this while briefing newsmen. So the army discovered the body of late Major General Idris Akali. Now, this is part of insecurity. But the good thing is that there was intensive search for the missing retired general. And it yielded dividends. They've gotten what they want. So don't you think there needs to be some kind of concerted effort from relevant authorities to ensure security? How do you think they can do this? We'll get back to Andrew again.
Well, you just mentioned that they made a concerted effort in trying to find the body of Major General Akali.
Yes, Akali.
What did you call him? A Major General. Before now, we'll be seeing Nigerians missing. Hundreds, thousands. Are there concerted efforts like this to make sure they discover the bodies?
Thank you.
And their killers.
Because now a Major General is involved in the army. And the army, they will not want to fold their arms. So long as their colleague has been killed, the body is still here in Nigeria. They made that concerted effort, and from reliable source, from what I discovered, it was in a community. The youths, they ganged up to kill that general and buried him. When they discovered that the news was now everywhere that the armies were coming, they exhumed the body, took it to another state, whether Plateau or so, to go the same location, to go and bury. For God's sake, I don't know Nigerians, I don't know how to describe an average Nigerian. Because in other developed countries, you can't even see a policeman, and look him in the face. Not talk of an army general. You that is a civilian. I don't know what transpired during the whatever, but as an army general, I don't think a civilian have that audacity or whatever to confront an army general and disarm him and kill him. Just like that.
He was traveling. We understand that he was traveling.
Yes. So what must have generated or prompted to that kind of barbaric act?
That's the insecurity. That's the problem. And that's what we are trying to find solution to. So let's also get the thoughts of Dr. Joe.
Well,
now, what's the way forward? we'll be talking about insecurity. We thought the government made Nigerians believe that they are getting the victory, but with skirmishes here and there.
Well, thank you, Gosa. Well, for the Boko Haram aspect, I think that victory was in reference to Boko Haram, well, Pyrrhic victory or relative victory as it were. But I think for now, let's even deal with one that affects civil society or civil people in certain settings where we ordinarily should expect violence, like a place like Jos, peaceful town, a peaceful state that we all love to go to. Now, for the one in Plateau State, I think it's a carryover of what they have gone through in the time past, the killings and all that have gone on there. So I'm sure they were very restive and apprehensive of anything that happens. And I'm told that or what I gather from information, that general, I think a couple of days or a week before, there were some killings in the shopping mall led by soldiers that they couldn't really explain how. And so they killed some people in the shopping mall. And so they used to arrest him and they mounted the roadblock and all that. And then the general was traveling, I think on his way to Bauchi also, passed through the mob. I think he was a little bit overconfident. Instead of hiding, he came out and introduced himself. Of course, when you introduce yourself like a cockroach in the midst of cocks or chicken, so that will happen. So the youths took the law to their hand. But like we said, it's a festering problem. But solution, let me not go too much. I think we've said there repeatedly. You see, security is a pivotal aspect of governance. Okay. So those who are in charge of governance, not just those who are elected now. Yeah. For example, I do not know what has happened to the CP of the two states over this killing of a Major General in his state. Yeah? I don't know what happened. I don't know if they have some other security agencies there, what they have. So anybody who is given the mandate to ensure security, even if it's just a DPO, if you are a DPO and you say, oh, Gida is notorious, this place is notorious, that DPO should be fired. It means you are not doing your job. So if it cascades downwards, down to my hamlet, whoever is there, then if you're not performing, we'll either remove you, we'll replace you, and if you are doing well, we'll give you the incentive. Okay,
let me quickly interject there. That in Plateau State, like you said, the former CP was removed. Okay. A new CP was sent there, Austin Agbola. After the incident, okay. Yes. Okay, and I didn't follow that. Now we are getting the dividends. Okay. Good. That's a good one. So where you have a missing link, you quickly try to chain it up, because that is the idea. Before you start blaming the man at Aso Rock, the IGI himself. So if you have the DSS, for example, so people should be held accountable, because we all have you are doing your job here now. If you are to monitor a particular place as a security expert, you must do it. That is the first aspect, holding those people accountable at the lowest ebb. Then before you go into the bigger picture, funding. Yeah. Now we hear about security votes. What do they do with it? Security vote is meant to ensure security for all of us, lives and property. So if Nigerians are in this dire state of security, then it's either you cancel security votes or they are meant to account for it. This oblique cover they have, if it's not accountable, you cannot question it, no longer there. If there's a security challenge in a state, look at it, then the governor or whoever should come and tell us what he's doing with the money. Okay, thank you. Let's get the thought of Evangelist Emeka.
Yeah, let me add.
The way forward now.
Let me add to this.
Okay.
The security men should be wise enough to know how to make use of their arms. For instance, somebody is protesting without arms, and they are firing at them. They are tear gassing them. You are telling them to find a way to secure themselves, possibly in self-defense. Yeah. This is just for the security men. Okay, so they should involve what that means of probably quelling be protests and all that. Okay. Be professional. Be professional. Yes. Then when you come to the other side, you and I should also be part of the security. Police cannot be in New Benin at the same time, number one, at the same time being in number 2 at Ring Road. They cannot be everywhere. It is you and I that can be able to say, this is what happening within me. If you are not ready to give a good information about where you are, then it will be difficult for your place to be protected.
Okay.
But another problem is when you give information, because most of these security agents are not professional. They're not professionals. When you give them information, they are ready to tell the criminals that it was you that brought the information.
That's what I wanted to say.
That's where the problem also is. So what do we need to do? If the federal government, the Nigerian army, were able to make a proper search and they discover where the remains of a retired general was buried, whatever satellite, federal government should give a better vote. Let there be a satellite to enable, when things are going somewhere there, the money you will recover from looters, billions of naira, what is it being used for? I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be honest, to serve, to do this. Those money, if you use it to get all these gadgets, that when you are passing on the road, we can be able to see. Somebody somewhere who is monitoring. You'll be able to see exactly what is going on in this nation. It's not easy. It's not going to be a day job. No. The whole matters have scattered. If you go to streets, even children in the primary school are in the court. And the courtesan they entered, you see them, one way or the other, their leaders will begin to motivate them to carry arms. They begin to import arms to give to little children. And I still go back to say, one of the way forward for insecurity, let Nigerians, let's watch on how politicians in the office carry money. That is just the truth. We will go to minimum wage. If you are paying a civil servant 18,000 naira and they are demanding 30,000, you cannot pay. And you are in the office with security votes and everything. I'm sorry if I've jumped to another
no problem.
Whatever. And with security votes and the allowances and everything being gathered under a month to 2 months, if they see your mansion, an ordinary man would wish
to have that.
I wish I am in this office. Look at this man yesterday. I know when he was folding trousers. But today,
yes.
Look at where he is. Look at what he has acquired under how many years here. There will be no security. You will see some little boys will come up and say, I want to be like this man. And how would they want to be like that? If I can do away with you, I will get to there. I mean, it's a common...
okay, yes. Thank you, Evangelist Mecca. Okay.
To add to the...
Way forward.
Like a precautionary motive.
Okay.
Like it is done in a civilized world. The police or the security, there should be constant patrol.
Okay.
Within a particular vicinity that is prone.
Flashpoint.
Constant security.
Yes.
Even without uniform, you can place your men around that place. So that when there's anything, pronto, the police or the security, they are there. And again, this CCTV camera,
yes.
That is the best security you can have in a civilized society. CCTV. Even on traffic lights, there are CCTV cameras.
In developed countries?
In developed countries. Traffic light. In all strategic places, you see them there. And again, in some places that you think is so important to the federal government or to the state,
yeah.
There are some gadgets that is connected there that links directly to the police headquarters.
Okay.
That if there's anything going on there, you just press something, the alarm will be ringing in their office.
Okay.
Before you know they are there. If not for the organized society, the way they checked security and crime abroad, they would have been worse than Nigeria.
That's right.
It's true.
They would have been worse than Nigeria, but they were able to reduce it to the barest minimum because of all this
technology. Deploy technology.
And Nigeria, I don't see why we cannot do same, because the money is
the money is here.
Like he said, the looters' money, where is it? Are they relooting it? What are they doing with it?
Okay.
It's a big question.
Yeah, that's the issue of the looters' money has some legal implications. But let's move to the next issue that we'll be discussing on today's program, and that has to do with the minimum wage. 6th of November is the date that the NLC or the organized labor has threatened to go on industrial action, which is otherwise known as strike. And that is not the wish of an average Nigerian, because we know of the problems that go with that strike. So they went on a protest march recently, simultaneously across the country, to sensitize the citizens and also inform the government of their threat that they intend to go on. But the governors, they were actually asking, we understand that there was a tripartite agreement and organized labor settled for 30,000 naira minimum wage. But the governors held an emergency meeting, and at the end of the emergency meeting, the governors agreed that they can only pay 22,500 naira, which was rejected by the organized labor and even the federal government, because the federal government is even willing to pay above that, but not up to 30. But we understand that the NLC now is threatening to even take it up. But let's just listen to Ayuba, the president of the NLC.
Is 66,500, which we have reiterated, and which from all indices now we are going to revert back to it. The issue of 30,000 was a compromise position that was agreed at the tripartite negotiating table. It wasn't the demand of labor, it wasn't a figure imposed by labor, it was mutually agreed. At the conclusion of the meeting of the tripartite negotiating committee on the 5th of October this year, and therefore this is the stand of labor, this is the stand of organized labor. Minimum wage is not an allocation, it's not a unilateral award, it is negotiated, and therefore the known process of arriving at figure is a tripartite negotiation.
So that's the president of the NLC reacting after the governors made their own stand, because even the 18,000, some states are unable to pay. So the governors needed to quickly hold an emergency meeting. But let's quickly think. Dr. Joe Bodio.
Thank you very much.
Now, protest by NLC. In Edo State, there was protest, and the governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, assured workers that whatever is agreed on at the national level, he will pay.
Yes.
We understand that Bayelsa State government is willing to pay 30,000 naira to workers.
Yes.
Now, the Governors Forum say 22,500. The NLC says no. 6th of November is the date for strike. How do we avert it?
Well, I think we can avert if we are being true to ourselves. So we have to go introspection, government and even the unions themselves. I've said it before, even in my research. You see, it's not really right to choose government to increase minimum wage. See, this is wages, it's contractual. You don't blackmail government or even your employer to increase your wage. It's not true. This is done systematically. You do it, on the level of diplomacy. You see, the fact that we've gone to a stage where there's an increment, it's an improvement. Because for some of us, it's not the wage that matters, it's the inflationary trend, policies that will keep the prices down, so you can afford to get these things with your wage. When you shoot wages up suddenly, the prices will go up, because don't forget, it's a question of demand and supply. This money we are fighting for will become as useless, if not worse than the 18,000 if we are not careful. The hype that goes is not strong. So that is why labor should calm down. Again, look at the increment itself from 18 to 22, assuming, and federal government 24. You see, you ask for 50% increment or 100%. It's not like that now. Because look at more about the payment structure. Can they pay? I've always said it. It is better for you to have more workers on the payroll and to have a wage structure that will give room for retrenchment. Because if you labor presses too much, some of these governors now, and even federal, for goodness sake, you pretend they can pay, but it's downsizing. What about unemployment? How do you get people employed? It's the budget that determines who you can employ in the ministry and MDAs. If the wage bill increases with our building economic resources, then it means that government cannot employ more people. And what does that mean? It means that you either start downsizing people to create room for employment, or we are stagnant where we are. So I think that I'm in the public sector myself. I like if you increase salary, I will enjoy it. But I always say that it's not true to just fight for increment without looking at how well government can manage with the large pool of workers in the public sector. Then don't forget, it's not a public sector thing. You have the private sector too. There are those who are in business too. Business is not easy in Nigeria as we speak now. So how do you factor your capital, your investment, and your employment? And then you want to balance both. So at the end of the day, an employer and labor in the private sector is how to do business and make profit. So when he says I will pay so much and he cannot pay, then you have a man who has a factory with only 10 workers. Because he wants to pay minimum wage, because it's not mandatory, you must pay a certain amount of money, or they're going to picket him. So instead of having 100 workers, I can pay whatever you may think is unreasonable to, which I prefer. You have a man who has 20 workers and pay them well. The remaining 80 are on the streets, creating this very problem. So I think it's a balance. And then before I hand over to my colleagues, most importantly, the issue of wage increment in Nigeria has been handled as if we're a unitary state, unity country. If it's federal, and we'll talk about restructuring, federalism, as some of my colleagues preach, for goodness sake, the federal government should not centralize this negotiation. And even else, people who ought to know better should not be a part of this kind of centralized negotiation. The states that can pay, states they can pay. The governor here said they pay more than 18,000, which I'm sure people can verify. Some states have been paying more than 18,000. Some haven't been to pay 18,000. They have to be billed out repeatedly to pay. So let the federal government workers negotiate with their federal government, who are their employers, and arrive at a figure. Then let the states negotiate with their own respective workers. A state that has money like Rivers or wherever can pay even 50. Why peg it at 30? If I'm a Rivers state, I say, you must pay me 50. I'll be reasonable. Or Delta state. I'm sorry if the government are hearing me. But that is how it goes. because it's a contract. Also, but the man from Ekiti or less endowed state, say, please, we are broke in this state. We are just agrarian state, we only farm. Nothing comes to happen. Please, can you manage 18? Or let me just add, I can give you 20. So it is, the state should not, it's an agreement between the employers and the state. So why would an NSC and another body come and say, state must pay this, must pay that, and then create crisis and all this because of the place? Play to the gallery. I don't support that, with due respect.
Thank you very much, Dr. John. Okay, let's get a thought of evangelist.
Let me quickly come in here. I think, my brother, you made a very, very wonderful
point. Yes.
Valid point. But I have this take.
Yes.
Why are these people agitating for increase? The situation of the country. I am a civil servant, and lo and behold, I have children. I pay house rent. I transport. I pay bills. And with the money paid to me, I don't loot. I don't take bribes. There is no way I can be able
to meet up, man.
To meet up. As much as the country today is concerned. You've said something I subscribe to. Lagos State can pay 100,000. Yeah. That is Lagos State for you. Rivers can do so. Delta can do so, but not every state. When President Buhari came into office, he tried to cut some expense by giving one minister about 3 offices to handle. We don't know whether they were paying them the money for the 3 offices or just one. But there is one big problem. Even the people that were given the office are not capable. Many of them are old enough to forget themselves. How much more to handle an office? The problem must continue. And if they are there, gathering and gathering, the Minister of Labor, Ngige, is of the federal government, negotiating on behalf of the federal government and the state government. I don't know how we can marry this. If Ngige said he agreed for 30,000, how would he want Edo State to get 30,000 to pay all the workers I see in Edo State? But those who are sweeping on the road as minimum wage. So you see where the problem is. If they allow the governors in each of the states to go into in-house meeting, town hall meeting, whatever meeting you may call it, with their workers, I think we get a result.
Yeah.
I think we will get a result. But when you want to come from up to control who is here, it will be very, very difficult. I want to appeal to Labour that they should not go on strike by on 6th, because it's going to be very, very terrible.
Yes, yes.
It's going to be very difficult.
Thank you.
A lot of people will go down.
Thank you. Let's get the thoughts of Andrew. You are into a pressure group for good governance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now the threat of labor is there. What's your take on all this?
You know, at times I look at Nigeria, the way they do things, too many politics,
Okay.
to the detriment of the citizen.
You've come to where I was coming before.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the labor, I didn't know Nigerians.
Yeah.
The federal government, I didn't know Nigerians.
Yeah.
Who are they representing? Nigerians.
Yes.
Without fighting, can't you, as federal government and labor, sit down to evaluate things and know how to make your people live good life without strike and all that? Listen, strike does not bring out good result in any country. One day strike in a civilized country, in any country, you've lost billions.
Billions of billions. Yeah.
And in Nigeria, you know we don't go for one day strike.
Yes,
A minimum of 1 week.
1 week.
We are happy, stay at home. Let me tell you, if the threat is carried out, they go on strike. It is the commoners that will suffer it. You are giving these big men opportunity to travel to go and rest. And they will come back. They have the money.
The airports will be sealed.
Why?
They will see the airport.
No, that's international.
Okay.
But let's be frank to ourselves. I can remember in those days, as a fresh graduate, when you leave the university, you have a Volkswagen or a 504 waiting for you as a Nigerian, irrespective of
Automatic employment. you
automatic
mean?
employment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nigeria is
That
too
was
big
the
for that now.
good old days.
Listen,
It's too big for that
are we
now.
now bad old days? Are we experiencing bad old days? Now, let me tell you, the most lucrative business we have in Nigeria is politics. The best houses in town,
You've come to what I was saying
they
before.
are
now.
owned by politicians. The shopping malls, they are owned by politicians, people that are supposed to be lawmakers. To be very fair with this APC government, when Buhari came in, he said, House of Assembly or whatever, you people are lawmakers, you don't need money, you don't need constituency, whatever, you are not supposed to build road or construct road or build anything. Go and make laws. He gave them budget. They returned it, added theirs to it, and said the government must pass it.
Padded budget.
So let me tell you, Nigeria will have a very great problem until we as individuals, citizens, rise up. Because it's all about law. What governs a nation is law, constitution. And who makes them? The National Assembly or the State House of Assembly. And once the bill is read in the House, first reading, second reading is passed, it becomes law. By the time you want to violate, police will throw tear gas, go to court. By the time you go to court, court will interpret the constitution. No, they have the right to, the thing is in law. So it's selfish interest. They don't have the interest of the masses at that. At the end, after carrying this padded budget, the money, when you go and meet them, they will not say empowerment. One generator.
So let's really, because we're about leaving now. Now, what's your advice? Labour, you heard the president of NLC. He said, he reiterated that it was an agreement. So what's the way forward? What's your advice? We'll just take that quickly. We'll start with Dr. Joe.
Let me say that statement may not be too correct. If there's an agreement as it says, then there should be evidence of the agreement. I think it was a proposal really, because the minister has debunked that. If there was an agreement, who were the parties? The states are offering 32. You say they are going to pay 30. At what point? You say tripartite, state, federal, and private sector.
Yes.
The states who are now offering 32, they are going to 30. At what point? Is there a document to evidence that? Well, let me do that. I think, like I said, Labour should suspend that. Like the last point I didn't make. Now, government must develop other sectors. Nigeria needs capital projects, not recurrent. When we keep increasing wage bill, we are putting more pressure on our budget. We are putting more into recurrent expenditure. And we need roads. We talk about security. We need infrastructural development. So we cannot spend our money paying wages. So I think Labour should September 24,000 naira for federal and the states. If the states can beg them, it's just 1,005 difference. Let them be at par with federal.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joe. Thank you. Mr. Andrew, just one word. Advice?
My advice is this.
Yes.
Labor, don't go on strike. Federal government, if you know you love your citizens, let them live well. Give them what they want. And kudos to the Edo State governor that said, any amount I will pay. He has looked at his allocation and IGR and all that, he should be able to pay. Let me tell you, even that 30,000 will not be enough. And again, let us not forget that this constant increment of salaries and all that, it devalues currency. A time will come that we'll be talking of 1 million naira, like in Ghana cedis, Zimbabwe 1 million. It is worthless. Please, it's not by increment. The tomatoes is waiting. By the time they increase, they will increase theirs. Please.
Thank you very much. Evangelist, just one word.
Yeah, thank you very much. First and foremost, let's help the security for the security to help us.
Okay.
Security help us to also to help you. Then to labor, please don't go on strike. Our governors, sit back, call those who are working with you to put things right. The issue of governors forum, I don't think if it is constitutional. Manage your own state. Let another governor manage his own state.
Thank you very much. My viewer out there, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, today's edition of the program, 60 Minutes Nigeria, a current affairs program. We've looked at the state of insecurity in Nigeria. We've also dissected the issue of the proposed new minimum wage, the labor, and of course, the other stakeholders. And we just hope that the strike will be averted in the interest of Nigerians. Thanks for being a part of the program. Next week, Thursday, by the grace of God, we'll be here again with different discussants to look at other national issues. Until then, have a wonderful weekend ahead. Bye-bye.